no, hang on a second. I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised that you actually didn't use in defense of slavery. You didn't use the example of, well, modern day 9-to-5 job is slavery as well.
Respond to the argument that I gave, not another debate. Stop riding APUSS's coattails. Just respond to the argument that I gave.
This one coming in from, do appreciate your question. Apostate Prophet says, should Islam be enforced upon the disbelievers?
Yeah, Islam. Wait, you said apostate prophet, APUSS?
It's apostate prophet.
Okay,
I don't know what the other word means, but
APUSS. We discussed this in our debate. Go and rewatch the tape. We talked about universalism. Liberalism is a universalist ideology. It believes in imposing human rights and this kind of LGBT rights extremism on the entire planet, and it does through colonialism, through occupation, through sanctions, forced famine. That is the universalism of liberalism and human rights being imposed on the entire globe. Islam is also universalist. It also believes that Islam should spread, and I've talked about this in our debate. People can go back and watch that, which you acknowledge you lost that. So, yeah, Islam is universalist. So what? All of these other belief systems, including human rights liberalism, are universalist as well, and they employ coercion in the same way that Islam has coercion, but Islam is the truth.
This one coming in from, you guessed it, apostate prophet says, Daniel, do you prefer Islamic law or secularism? If you had the power, would you want to return the U.S. into an Islamic country? What would happen to the resistant, disbelieving men and women in this Islamic America?
So there's a lot of ways to spread Islam, right? And I invite non-Muslims in America and throughout the world to look into Islam, investigate Islam, look at these arguments that I'm making, and have an open mind. Like, you see this kind of con game and hoax that people like Harris and APUSS are doing, where they're trying to, repeat the same talking points, but it's all based on lies. And when you actually understand how Islam and Sharia law, orthodox, strict Sharia law, is promoting family and marriage and community and results in flourishing of human life, all people, and how this has been the case for 1400 years, then people will be open and will want to accept Islam. This is my message to non-Muslims watching, and I do it with a very sincere and open heart.
This one coming in from apostate prophet says, the Quran describes disbelievers, including Jews and Christians, as quote-unquote worst of creatures and quote-unquote less than cattle. Does Daniel agree this fits with the Sharia law?
Well, Islam is universalist, as I mentioned, and it says that belief in God and accepting of God's messengers is an important part of being a good and moral person. And rejecting God and rejecting his signs, rejecting his message to humanity, the Creator's message to humanity, this is a very immoral thing to do. In fact, it's one of the most immoral things to do. Associating partners with God, creating idols to worship in place of God. These are some of the worst things, the most immoral things to be done. And so this is the moral vision that Islam offers, and there's a lot to say about that. There's actually a video that I'm going to publish in about a week called The Genius of Islam, episode 3, that's going to talk about the evil of idol worship and associating partners with God. And so I invite everyone to watch that for a more detailed elaboration of this. Neo-colonial world order. So this is something that about liberals. Wait, let me answer the question. You're not getting any questions. You don't get to interrogate me along with APUSS and all of these atheists.
So apostate prophet says, Daniel, under Sharia, should homosexuals be executed if your own child openly engages?
Watch the debate that I had with you, APUSS.
This one from apostate prophet says, for Daniel, if he wants to force Islam, execute apostates and enslave disbelievers, would it be okay to do the same to Muslims and Muslim converts? If not, why not? Please answer the question.
Would it be? No. Why would I want people to be, the people who stand for truth and justice and righteousness, to be enslaved? Why? Like, just because you accept that warfare is necessary and slavery is necessary doesn't mean that you yourself are fine with being defeated in war. Again, I can ask anyone that question. Like, do you think war is necessary? And then you say, yes, war is necessary. Okay, so you're fine with being defeated in war. You're fine with being blown up. You're fine with being droned. What's the logic of that? It doesn't make sense. Yes, sometimes war is necessary. I explained how sometimes slavery is necessary. Sex slavery is necessary. Do I want that to happen to me? No, I don't want to die in a war. I don't want to be enslaved, obviously. But that's not some kind of hypocrisy. Like APUSS, here, I'll talk about APUSS. Like, he is just a con man. He has to lie, just like Harris, to his Hindu Duaa audience, his Christian loser audience, who they are not able to actually think for themselves. They just follow this con. All of these points have been addressed. All of these points have been addressed in our debate I had with APUSS, but he's such a crybaby loser that he has to hijack this debate. And Harris is such a cuck that he allows APUSS to hijack his stage and his spotlight. Doesn't that make you feel like a loser, Harris? Doesn't that make you feel like
You're the white
that your big daddy APUSS,
your rhetorical skills are good.
Your big
Dan.
your big
gotta respond
daddy
because
APUSS is taking
it was
your
always-
spotlight? Are you
Daniel,
second fiddle to APUSS, Harris?
Daniel,
Answer that question. Because they're not getting any questions from the audience. No one cares about.
Yeah,
Exactly. Let's go.
Because my position is so sensible. People are like, whatever he says.
If you ask Harris a question, you gotta give him a chance to respond.
Are you
Come on,
a
Daniel.
schoolboy cuck?
So you are.
I think they actually agree with you now that I read it. But next one coming in from Apostate Prophet says Daniel still doesn't explain why he won't move to. Let's see.
I did explain
we
that
answer
actually.
that.
APUSS.
Yeah, we got that.
Here's a
We've
new
got
idea.
so many questions. I hate to do this. The Super Destroyer says, APUSS got go respond to Farid responds. Okay, and then